Yeah. Hi there, welcome to Switched On. Paul speaking, and of course fans of Crazy Taxi will recognise that intro, but you're not going to be getting any offspring in this game. This is Taxi Chaos on the Nintendo Switch, which is a homage to the original game. I'm recording this a few days before launch, but it is out today, 23rd of February. Comes from Team 6 Games and published by Lion Castle, and it's going to cost you $35 in America and around about £31 in the UK. We've got let's have a little look around the options you've got here, or the main menu. You've got some options, not much there at all. Language settings, audio options, and your credits. We've got achievements, which is really nice to see. Lots of achievements and collectibles as you drive around the city. Something there for you completionists. Should be good. Plenty of achievements. We've got leaderboard, online leaderboard, which is also quite nice to see. There's been lots of popular YouTubers popping up now. I've seen RGT85 and the guys from Switch Watch are up there as well. So well done to those guys. I can't get anywhere near their scores. The modes in the game, we've got three main modes. You've got free roam, which as the name suggests, lets you travel around NYC. No, it's not New York City, it's New Yellow City. Nice little rib on New York City there. And just basically drive around, getting used to the area. There's no sort of restrictions on time or anything like that. You can just drive around at your leisure, picking people up and dropping them off. We've got Pro Mode, which takes away the navigation in the game. So you have to really know the city like the back of your hand to get your passengers to their destinations. And we've got the traditional arcade mode, which is what we're going to have a look at. Only two characters in this one. We've got Vinny and Cleo. Unlike I think the original Crazy Taxi had three. It was Axel. Oh, I'm never going to remember their names. I know Axel was one of them. It's one I usually was. But there was sure there's three characters. Only two in this game. Hey, I'm going to go with Vinny. And you've got a number of vehicles to unlock here by reaching different achievements. So for example, the next car here is drive 25 miles in any mode. Drop 100 customers off. Collect 25 collectibles. So again, reasons there to keep playing. I've already unlocked two of the cars so far in my playtime. I think we'll go with this 450 GT.
Good choice.
And there he goes, pootling off. Now, if you're a fan of Crazy Taxi, you may have already been, well, you may be aware of the sort of subdued nature so far of Taxi Chaos. Now I'm going to get to that as we talk about the game, but yes, unfortunately, it's one of the things that I noticed immediately. I'm a massive Crazy Taxi fan, love the game, and it's just one of those classic arcade games that just gets your blood pumping. And this is kind of, there's none of that here basically. There's none of the obviously there's no Offspring music, but you know, the music in this game is really odd. It's like being at like a chill out club and on a massive come down at 3 in the morning. It's just like really weird ambient chilled out music. It just doesn't suit the style of game at all. But again, I'm going to get to a list of fixes that the guys have sent me over. I'll pop them up on the screen in a little bit when we go through them. But basically one of the changes is to introduce some rock music into the game. I think there's 10 or 11 tracks that they're adding to the game, which it desperately needs, because there's just no atmosphere in the game at all, which is a shame, because the minute-to-minute gameplay is actually not too bad at all, and it is very much Crazy Taxi, you know. They've done a great job of getting the gameplay down, but it's just really let down by some lackluster presentation. But here we go. Anyway, I'm going to describe the game. For those of you youngsters that never played Crazy Taxi in the arcade, you basically drive around a city, picking up passengers from the side of the streets. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we find our next passenger. Following the arrow navigation at the top of the screen and dropping them off in these green areas. The quicker you do it, the more money you get. You've got a nice bit of money there, and then you move on and pick up your next passenger. I just boosted past one. It's really hard to stop once you've done a boost. I'm actually on $11,000 already. Oh, this is a disaster. It was looking so good, and I can't find anyone to pick up. There's someone, but I'm going to run out of time. I've got 9 seconds left. So yeah, you pick up these passengers, you follow the arrows and drop them off. The passengers, when you pick them up, you see there's kind of rings surrounding them, and there's a little clock above their heads. Basically, if it's a green clock on a green ring, their journey is quite close by. Orange is a bit further away, and then red is kind of a long, difficult journey. But obviously, the longer journeys you take, the more money you get. Oh, such a shame. I did a really good first job there, and kind of lost my concentration. Stick with Vinny again. Now, the good thing about Crazy Taxi is it was made by SEGA, and as I say, it had the sort of absolutely pumping soundtrack, and it was just full of style. It was just absolutely in your face. There was like really good UI at the start, you know, really colourful graphics. I mean, this has got colourful graphics, but everything just feels a little bit flat at the moment, which is a real shame, you know, because as I say, the gameplay is pretty much spot on. They've done a really good job. I'm gonna read out the patch changes shortly, because I think they are aware that they need to make some changes. But let's have another run through here. So you see the navigation arrow, which again is one of the things being changed in the patch, because it's a little bit hard to see which direction it's actually pointing in. So it just needs a little bit of clarity, but that again is something they're fixing. Pick up a red passenger here.
Your wish is my demand.
Man, notice as well a couple of new features that aren't in Crazy Taxi, the original game. And that's the turbo boost. If you hold down brake and accelerate, you can boost away, but it's very hard to steer. But it's good if you're on a straight bit of road. And obviously the jump, the bunny hop, you press A or B, allows you to jump over traffic, and you get a multiplier for that. The jury's out for me on that. I don't know if I hate it or whether it's a nice innovation in the game. I mean, I guess, you know, they've not completely ripped off Crazy Taxi. They've tried to add something of their own in, which, you know, appreciate that. It's quite a cool idea. It does make the game a little bit easier, as you kind of can just jump over traffic. Now, you may have noticed as well, there's a prime example just happened there. The roads quite often empty. You know, you'll get these long stretches. I'm gonna run out of time here. Is it in the sea? Probably not. In Crazy Taxi, oh look, it's right there. I was in the right place. Oh, I got credit for it. In Crazy Taxi, you could actually go underwater as well and drop people off underwater. I don't think you can do that in this game. Yeah, so I was saying about the lack of traffic on the roads, and again, it's one of the things that I think is in the patch notes. They're certainly looking at adding in more pedestrians onto the side of the road, because the streets are pretty quiet generally. Oh, spin around, spin! Ah!
What do you like the most about driving a taxi?
So far, this is my highest score, 15,000. I think the guys at the top of the leaderboard have got $30,000 in their journey. You get, I think it's a minute, isn't it? I didn't really, not really pay much attention to the start of the time.
Thank you.
There we go. Oh, I should have picked up that green passenger. I've only got 4 seconds left. You see that you get a bit of extra time when you pick someone up to drop them off, but yeah, if it's a red journey, you're pretty much going to struggle to make this time.
Watch out!
Just on the pavement, just knocking pedestrians over like Skittles. Now, one of the reasons for the bunny hopping in the game is there is verticality in this game, which was never in the original Crazy Taxi. So you can actually hit ramps and you know, go up onto rooftops and stuff like that. So that's quite interesting. What did I end up with there? 19,000. Oh, the guys are improving. So we've got the Gaming X top of the leaderboard at the minute with $42,000 on their daily shift. Jordan from Switchwatch got 38,000 now, and I think that's Juan from Switchwatch as well, got 33,000. And say RGT have been playing as well. He's already done a video on this a week or so ago, and I think he quite liked it from what I watched of it. So we're going to go through the patch notes. Let's get the patch notes up. So let's have a look. So new features that they're adding as well. So it's not just fixes, we've got new features. So 11 new music tracks, mostly rock tracks for the old school fans. So I'd imagine these fixes are based on early feedback from what I assume are beta testers and gameplay testers. So they must have had the similar sort of complaints. And I mean, it's so obvious. This is what frustrates me sometimes with game developers. I mean, it must be so obvious. You're making a Crazy Taxi clone. You know, people are going to be expecting, you know, the first thing I think of when I think of Crazy Taxi is that intro song from The Offspring. And, you know, their music throughout the game, really. And then to, you know, put the music that they've put in the game here is really disappointing. So I'm really hoping that those rock tracks bring back that sort of old school punk feel to the game, because I think that will help it massively. More ambient audio in the background of New Yellow City. Yes, definitely needs that as well. Timer that shows the full time on the run next to the time left. That's quite interesting. That would be cool. Because as I say, when you pick people up, you get extra time on. So it'd be good to know how much you've actually done on that shift. That would be quite a cool thing. Individual license plates numbers for each taxi with some in-depth references to various taxi media for true taxi fans. Now I don't know if it was in the arcade version. I can't remember that far back into the arcade. I think it was in the Dreamcast version that you could put in your own license plate. So that would be a nice little return. A clear indicator when a player achieves a personal record. Yes, very nice. Developer leaderboards. Can you beat the creators of the game? Yeah, quite like that. Updated the destination marker with a clearer design. Yes, we spoke about that in the gameplay. Definitely needs that. Back to menu button in the pause menu, and a retry button in the pause menu, and new animations in the results screen. That's really cool. All good stuff there. All new features coming in a day one patch. Now it says day one patch. It's going to be day one for the Xbox and PlayStation. Unfortunately, Nintendo want a couple of weeks of testing, so really unfortunately 2 weeks or so to wait for the Nintendo Switch patch, which is a bit of a disappointment. It's probably why I'm gonna I'll talk about my score towards the end actually of the video. Give it a few more minutes. We'll go through these fixes. More pedestrians will appear in all areas, preventing empty sidewalks. Yes, it needs that. Prevent the car from getting stuck. I've not experienced that. Bigger variety of customers to be found around town. Yes, that would be a good thing. Performance of the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch have been improved. Yes, that's good. Performance on the Switch is pretty good. I quite like the frame rate most of the time. It feels really snappy and quick, although there are some sections of slowdown. There is some problem with fogging and draw distance as well. So various sound issues when landing, driving in some cabs, and other occasions. But yes, the level of detail distance for the trees has been increased. That's good. Overexposure of Vinny and Cleo in the main menu. Relocating objects that could be blocking shortcuts. Rebalance the unlock requirements for different taxis to increase the challenge. And rebalance the score system for higher scores. So some really good stuff coming in the patch. And I will look out for that. We're going to have one more run just while we finish off talking about the game. Let's try a different cab. Let's try this one.
My old lady would love that one.
So yeah, overall, my thoughts on this. My first impressions were, I'm not going to lie, were pretty disappointing. I was going in expecting Crazy Taxi. I don't think it's unfair to expect that because the game is just marketed as being a remake of Crazy Taxi. So to go in expecting Crazy Taxi, I don't think was particularly unfair of me. And you just are greeted, as I say, with this pretty flat presentation. You know, hopefully will be fixed, but it just gives you immediately a sense of, you know, oh, it's not actually Crazy Taxi then. It's, you know, a poor rip-off. But giving it a few hours of gameplay, and as I say, I'm really starting to really enjoy the game. It's like the second-to-second gameplay, as I've said, is really good and very close to the original Crazy Taxi gameplay. So in terms of the fun you're going to get out of the game, I think it's going to be pretty high, especially if you're obviously a Crazy Taxi fan. If they can fix those issues and, you know, make the game a bit more, you know, give you a heart-pumping presentation, that kind of thing, all the better for it, and it would be a much better game for it. You know, and those other fixes as well all sound positive. Sounds like they're a team that really want to get this right and are really dedicated to bringing some updates and listening to the fans and stuff like that. So really positive. So overall, I would be looking so far to give this a 7 out of 10, and that's based purely on the gameplay. You know, the New Yellow City is pretty big so far. I've not really figured out the whole town, so it does feel like you're gonna spend a lot of hours getting all the best routes, getting the shortcuts, finding the secrets. You know, there's a lot to the game, and I do appreciate that. And I think with the patch, although we obviously haven't seen it, but from what the guys have said in those patch notes, if they can pull that off and it does increase the sort of presentation in the game and the performance in the game, can easily see this being an 8 out of 10 easily. And what I'm going to do is when the patch gets released, catch some major air there. When the patch gets released, I'm going to actually sort of visit the game.
That's it for today.
God, that was awful, wasn't it? Awful run. I'm going to revisit the game and maybe, you know, do an official review of it. But as I say, it's not going to be for a couple of weeks.
Now that's
I think I unlocked another taxi then. That's a shame. Could have jumped in that. Yeah, I'll revisit it then. We'll look at the changes, see how they compare to this this list of patch notes, see how the game compares to Crazy Taxi. Because as I say, I think it's totally fair to hold it side by side to Crazy Taxi, and see if the guys have nailed it. I really hope they have. I've got high hopes for this. As I say, initial disappointment. If you're picking it up on the Xbox or PlayStation, your mileage may vary, if you excuse the pun, as you'll be getting the day one patch tomorrow, and hopefully we can see some of those changes and what they're going to mean for the Nintendo Switch. But there you go. That is my take on Taxi Chaos on the Nintendo Switch. Let me know below if you're going to be picking this one up and what you think of the fact that they're taking some criticisms on board and are going to be fixing the game up. Is that a good idea for you? Is that going to influence your decision to buy? Are you going to hold off for the patch, or are you diving in now and going to get your money's worth out of it? As I say, I think if you're a big fan of Crazy Taxi and you don't go in expecting the same presentation, I think you're probably going to come away quite happy with this one. And with the promise of that patch to come, I think you're going to have a good time. So there you go. That's my thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you're new. Leave me a comment below, as I say, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. But until next time, I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching, and take care. See you later. Bye bye.